afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience. Today we're out at the Polo Grounds, that historic old home of the New York Giants, nestled in the lee of Coogan's Bluff on the island of Manhattan. The occasion, of course, is the playing of the second annual All-Star Baseball game between the outstanding performers of the National and the American League. And boy, what an aggregation of ball tossers are wandering around there, down there on that field right now. The pick of the world, no question about that. The crowd is tremendous, stands and packed all the way around. If you don't know the Polo Grounds, I'll just tell you quickly that it is a double-decked affair running about four-fifths to five-sixths of the way around the entire enclosure. There's only a small part of the grounds out in center field which is devoted to the bleachers. The rest is all double-decked grandstands. The grass looks as though it were absolutely as fine as the finest type of golf course green. It's perfect out there today, and Henry Fabian has certainly done a great job. Every seat in the house is filled now, almost at least. I can't see any vacant seats any place from my place up here in the second tier off third base. It's just about a capacity crowd right now, and undoubtedly every inch of the standing room will be taken before game time, which is in just a little less than 15 minutes. The boys have drawn an absolutely perfect day for baseball. Not too hot, but it's plenty hot enough to get a good sweat up when you're working out there on the field, but not too hot not hot enough to be uncomfortable for the spectators, the customers. So it's just perfect all the way around. There's a slight breeze blowing, but not enough to affect fly balls in particular. You know, last year, the first of these All-Star games was played out at Comiskey Field at Chicago. And that ended with a victory for the younger league, the American, the final score being 4-0. That day, a young fellow who had his 20th birthday in big league baseball, only the day before yesterday, and who intends to quit as a regular at the end of this season. He broke up that ball game with a towering home run with a man on the pad. His name, as you all know, is Babe Ruth, or George Herman Ruth, if you will, and for years especially has been breaking up ball games. This is another year, however, and the National League is out to avenge that beating of 1933. The way that ball has been tipped around the bases so far, the dazzling infield plays both teams have been pulling off, and the great running catches of long flies the outfielders have been snagging, it seems that a man must just be a magician to slap out a safe hit. But on the other hand, when you take a look at those batting averages of the two murderers' rows, you must realize that they'll just snap into it one time or another and do the necessary to score some runs. Crowd. Leading off for the American League will be Charlie Gehringer, whose second basing and 382 batting average has been one of the big reasons why the Detroit Tigers have been such thorns in the sides of the New York Yankees all season. Crawling right along all the time. They've been on top once in a while, but the Yanks have managed to cross the 4th of July, which is supposed to be the old deadline, cross the 4th of July in the lead. The national batting order starts off with Frankie Frisch, the old Fordham Flash, manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. By the way, as we run along, those of you who want to take these names down, be sure to have your pencil and paper just to get them, and then I'll run over the batting order again a little when we finish. Frankie Frisch, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals and the captain of All-Star Nationals today, he's been camping around second base so long that position has given up all its secrets to him. And his points this year is at a 310 clip. Heine Menusch of the Washington Americans is second on the American batting order, and he'll be out there patrolling the left field garden. And he's the only man boasting a 400 batting average. His average is 402, by the way. He'll look awful tough to those opposing pitchers. Pie Trainer, our third baseman to Crenshaw by. He's the new Pirate manager, you know, and he'll take care of the hot corner for the Nationals. And if he can't do it, well, then just nobody can, that's all. He's hitting at a 352 clip, and he surely will play up to the great standards that he's set for years out there in Pittsburgh. Babe Ruth will be at his old right field stand for the Americans, the man with the all-time record of 699 home runs in his major league career, and who probably has been given more intentional passes than any other man ever in baseball. For the Babe, his batting average is very puny this year, 291. The Nationals' number 3 man is Joe Medley, who with the Dean brothers and Frankie Frisch is largely responsible for keeping the Cardinals up near the top. He's hitting .361. The American League has chosen Lou Gehrig, Columbia Lou of the Yankees to fill the cleanup position, and Hydra of the Cubs gets the call from the Nationals. Gehrig on first is such an old institution that little need be said of him. He's baseball's Iron Man, and he's well in the running for both batting and home run leadership in his league. He's batting .369 at present. Hydra is a right field ball hawk, and he scored the Willow wielding average of .343 at present. Next for the Americans is Jimmy Fox. We had thought he would not be playing, but he's going to play according to the official lineup. Of course, Jimmy is a great star and home run hitter for Connie Mack down in Philadelphia. And he's first basing and is just too well known to need any talking about. Fox is massaging the pellet at a 345 clip. He's playing third today for the Americans. Wally Burger, the Boston Braves center fielder, is a real ball hawk, one who gladdens the heart of Bill McKechnie as manager, and one of the principal reasons why the Braves are always a menace. His hitting is .316. Al Simmons of the White Sox of Chicago comes next in the Americans' batting order. He'll do the center fielding, a fast, utterly graceful fly chaser, and always dangerous at the plate. How many of us who were there will ever forget that athletic rally of 10 runs against the Cubs in the World Series several years ago? The rally started by Simmons' ringing home run against the left field stand. He batted twice in that inning. He's singing the ball for a 343 standing. Then we have Bill Terry. On the Nationals, Memphis Bill, the manager and first backer of the Nationals. He places himself sixth in the batting order in spite of a fine average of 368, highest of the national team regulars. As everyone knows, he's also manager of the world champion New York Giants. And he's out in front now in quest of his second pennant and, of course, his second World Series. Joe Cronin of the Americans is not only manager of the team, but also manager of last year's American League champions, the Senators of Washington. Joe's pitching has fallen down on him a bit this year, but if those hurlers begin to click as they should, his team may be right up there yet. Joe will be in there doing a lot of short stopping, and he's much more dangerous at the plate than his 283 average might indicate in this group of terrific super sluggers. Travis Jackson of the Giants. He bats seventh for the Nationals. He's long been called the greatest shortstop in baseball, a player who seemed to be all washed up last winter on account of trouble with his legs. But trouble just doesn't mean a thing to Jackson, and he's in there with his whip-forward arm, tossing runners out from any and all positions, and holding up his end with the bat with an average of 287. He's one of the most opportune hitters in the game today. Behind the bat, the Americans have Bill Dickey of the Yankees, and the Nationals have Gabby Hartnett of the Cubs, both powerful bulwarks for their teams, both possessing fine arms to intimidate potential base stealers, and both have that certain something that helps and steadies pitchers at critical moments. Dickey is batting .322 right now, with Hydra just exactly the same, so there's nothing to choose there. The backstopping will be well taken care of. Two of the truly great pitchers of today will oppose each other in the starting lineup, probably for 3 innings each. Senor Lefty Gomez of the Yankees and Carl Hubble of the Giants. If these two are the starters, and I'm sure they will be now, there should be a southpaw battle for 3 innings at least. That'll be worth traveling mighty far to see. Gomez has already won 14 games for the Yanks, and Hubble has a rating among many who should know as the greatest living pitcher, and by not a few, as a man who is coming along to take his place as the greatest of all time. Man, also look at those batting orders. Not a soft spot from top to bottom. They're tough. Not the slightest chance for a pitching let-up. Just prove one for any man in that lot, and bang, there goes your old ball game. Will it be pitchers, or will it be hitters? Difference of opinion, eh? Well, that's what makes horse racing. Aside from the players mentioned, the Americans have, as pitchers, Red Ruffing of the Yanks, Tom Bridges of the Tigers, Mel Harder of the Indians. Tom, how's Mel going? Pretty good? Tom Manning of Cleveland ought to know all about him. Jack Russell of the Senators. Infielders, Frank Higgins of the Athletics, Jimmy Dykes of the White Sox. Outfielders, Earl Averill of the Indians, Ben Chapman of the Yanks, and Sammy West of the Browns. Of course, Tom Manning thinks that both Mel Harder and Earl Averill should be right in there now in the beginning of the game. But they're not. We'll probably see them all later. Catching, Rick Farrell of the Red Sox. I'm talking about extra players now, you know. The Nationals have as pitchers Ron Warneke, that great southpaw of the Cubs, Dizzy Dean, who with his brother is keeping the Cards right up near the top. Van Mungo from the Dodgers. And over in Brooklyn, they think Van Mungo is the greatest pitcher in either league. And they're not sure he is. But a lonely team this year, unfortunately for the Dodgers. Van Mungo has been pitching great ball. Then they also have Fred Frankhouse of the Braves. It seems to be the general opinion around among those who might know something about it that the National League pitching will top the American League pitching today to some extent. But pretty soon we'll know all about it. As extra infielders in the Nationals, Pepper Martin of the Cards. He's that baby that went crazy and just about won a World Series all by himself a few years ago, 3 years ago, 31. Floyd Vaughn of the Pirates. We had thought that Floyd might go in playing shortstop right away, as Jackson has had some eye trouble, but Jackson will start. Billy Herman of the Cubs. Outfielders for the Nationals, extra men, Paul Wainer of the Pirates. Mel Ott of the Giants and Chuck Klein of the Cubs. Just think of a baseball team that keeps Paul Wainer, Mel Ott, and Chuck Klein on the bench. Boy, oh boy. Also an extra catcher, Al Lopez of the Dodgers. The umpiring of the game will be by Brick Owen and George Moriarty from the American League, and Charlie Berman and Tommy Stark of the National League. Guidance manager Joe Cronin with the American League will have the services of Walter Johnson, the old master pitcher from Washington. Walter Johnson will be on the coaching line, and Al Shack will also be on the line for the American League. And the National League team will be similarly served by manager Bill McKechnie and manager Casey Stengel. Casey Stengel, you know, I remember one day out here when Casey Stengel slapped out 2 home runs in the World Series, won a ball game for the Giants. What a day that was for old Casey. No doubt about that. Anyway, altogether, it looks as though a grand and glorious baseball game was going to begin very, very soon. The manager's team, captains of the team, and the 4 umpires have gathered around the home plate for a last-minute conference before this ball game starts. I don't think there's a seat in the house. That means there must be somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 to 60,000 people crammed in the Polo Grounds this afternoon on one of the most beautiful baseball days you ever saw in your life. Both Gomez and Hubble are down there left-handing them into their catchers on the sideline, getting warmed up for the game. And I want you all to know that in a few moments we'll turn the microphone over to Tom Manning of Cleveland. Tom, you know, has been telling you about World Series time immemorial, and he's also going to give us play-by-play scoring today. Tommy Manning, that carrot-top redhead from Cleveland, Ohio. Here, quit that, Tom. And also with us is Ford Bond. Ford Bond has been telling you all about the baseball scores daily through this season. And he's been making a fine baseball game out of the newest results following the game. Ford has been telling you about every game. They haven't missed a game yet, have you, Ford? No, he says he hasn't missed a game. Of course, if he falls out of this box, he might miss tomorrow's game, but we'll try to keep him in. The field has been cleared now. Boys are still standing around the home plate. Joe Cronin and Bill Terry. And I see Walter Johnson is there, too. And I believe, I don't know whether it's going to be before the game or not, but I believe it will. It will be. The unveiling of the tablet for John McGraw. John McGraw, the Little Napoleon, as he was called for many years. Yes, the drapes have been pulled back from the tablet commemorating the history of John McGraw and the Giants. It It's out in center field. The tablet to McGraw is located just above the tomb. Or not the tomb, it isn't exactly a tomb, but the stone plaque out in center field at the center field exit, which was erected some years ago for that war boy, Captain Eddie Grant, formerly of the Giants. Just above the memorial to Eddie Grant is a plaque to Christy Masterson, who many people say, many of the old enthusiasts claim was absolutely the greatest pitcher of all time. Ross Young also is in memory out there with another plaque next to Christy Masterson. Ross Young, you know, was that great outfielder of the New York Giants some years ago, and the Giants and the world lost him. Eddie Grant, Christy Masterson, and Ross Young, and now above all of these is placed the bronze plaque in memory of John McGraw, one of the greatest leaders of baseball men who ever lived, unquestionably, and one of the real old-timers. He and Connie Mack were up to a short time ago were the only two of the real old-timers left. And now we have but one, Connie Mack, who I believe is now in his 72nd year. I believe Connie is that old, but to know Connie, you would never think she was that old. It was a terrific blow to baseball, of course, to lose John McGraw, but he felt that he was not in good health. He resigned from his managership of the New York Giants, and they were his greatest love all his life. And it wasn't very long before it seemed that the body simply could not hold the soul any longer when, after he had lost his beloved Giants, and so he passed from us. Now this ball game is going to start in just a very few moments, and I think Tommy Manning would like to warm himself up here talking for a few moments before this baseball game commences. Tommy Manning will tell you first about the play-by-play through the entire game. Between innings, Ford Bond will talk to us and give us some of the high spots inning by inning. After the game, it'll be my pleasure to come back again on the microphone and talk about the game to some extent. Not too long, I hope. And now this is Graham McNamee speaking. The National Leaguers, the National Broadcasting Company. The National Broadcasting Company is sending you the details of this game, and here's Red Tom Manning. Come in, Tom. Good afternoon, everybody. As Graham has told you, it is really a great day here at the Polo Grounds in New York, and what a ball game we all anticipate. Before we get started this afternoon, I want you to know that Ford Bond is going to speak to you throughout the game, and if you don't mind, Graham McNamee, of course, has given all of us so many fine thrills during his broadcasting career. We're mighty happy to come to today and to congratulate Graham McNamee. Today is his birthday. Is that right, Ford?
That's right. That's right. Graham's celebrating a birthday and showing all of his presents, claiming, 26 or 24 that he was asking about a while ago. Well, the players are all walking out now to have their pictures taken, together with a few of the umpires. The National Leaguers have come out. Today, the National League are wearing their home uniforms, but of course, each one of them decorated with their individual insignia of the teams. See the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Giants. All of them down there. Just for a moment, while we have time, we're going to check through this batting order so that you'll have it firmly in your mind or on your sheet if you're following and keeping scores of the play-by-play account, which will be given you by Tom Manning. We'll check through the American batting order here for the moment. Gehringer will lead off. Gehringer, the second baseman on the American lineup today. This will be followed by Manning. And the crowd rings out with applause for that National League crowd as they stand out. They're all having the picture taken, almost as many ball players as there are photographers, but I think the photographers outnumber. Manning is second. Then Ruth, third in the lineup, which is his usual place in the Yankees batting order, followed by that thundering artilleryman who bombards almost every park that he gets into, 24 home runs so far this season, Lou Gehrig. First four, Gehringer, Manush, Ruth, and Gehrig. Then fifth in the batting order and wearing the number 5 today is Fox, manning third base here in the starting lineup. Followed by that crashing center fielder, Simmons. Simmons is sixth and also wearing that number. Then Cronin, placing himself seventh in the batting order. He occupies fourth in the Senators' batting order of his home team. He's managing this club today, this American League club, and he's placed himself seventh in the batting order. Bill Dickey, the catcher, occupying the eighth place, and Gomez, the starting pitcher, the ninth. Now the players are broken up down there for the moment and are running out to their position. So we'll go through the National League batting order right quickly here. Frisch, leadoff man and second baseman of the National League team today. Trainer, third baseman and occupying the second place in the batting order. Medwick, followed by Kyler, Kai Kyler, the right fielder. Then Berger, Perry, Jackson next, who is playing short. Thought that Vaughn might start, but Jackson's been chosen to start. Hartnett, Gabby Hartnett, the Cubs catcher, who is starting off as catcher for the National League, is down there now. He's put on his protector and he's in guard, and Hubble walks out and picks up a ball on the mound. And Hubble occupying the ninth position in the batting order. He's warming up now, tossing over a few to Gabby Hartnett, who wings it back. And the infielders are tossing the ball around. It goes over to Bill Terry. He wings it across on the ground over to Pat Trainer on third. Getting just about ready, and Gehringer, the second baseman and leadoff man for the American League team, is up there now measuring his bat and feeling of it. And here's Tom Manning to give you the start of this great game, the All-Stars of the American and National Leagues, with the American League up at bat with Gehringer up at the plate. Here's Tom Manning.
Well, just about set to go now. Sherman is behind the plate umpiring. Sherman of the National League, you know. George Moriarty of the American League is at third. Rick Owen is at first. And Dolly Stark is at second base. Charlie Gehringer steps into the batter's box. Here's the windup. The great Paul Hubble. And the first ball pitch. It's a foul down first base. Strike one. The ball is retrieved over there by Walter Johnson, manager of the Cleveland Indians. And was delayed for a moment. The ball got away from Walter. And Bill Terry, manager and first baseman of today's game. Finally retrieves the ball and tosses it back to the National League dugout. Now ready to go again. Gehringer up, you know, strike one. Ball, it's a fastball. Misses the outside corner of the plate, just a little bit too high. That was not quite as fast as the first ball that Hubble tossed in there. Ball one and strike one on Charlie Gehringer, you know, that great second baseman of the Detroit Tigers. Here it is. Ball two. Another hook ball. Misses the outside corner of the plate. Hubble stood there, bending down for a moment, looking in. But it's the ball and the count on Charlie Gehringer. Ball two and strike one. Here it is. He swings. It's a base hit. Frankie Frisch dives for the ball. It's out in the center field. It's fumbled. Gehringer's grounding first, going to second. It's close to goal. He's safe. He's safe at second base. That will be scored as a single for Charlie Gehringer and an error for center fielder Wally Berger. Charlie Gehringer with a count ball two and strike one. Knocked up him through the infield. Frankie Frisch, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, who is playing second base, dove along the ground. It got barely missed his fingertips, rolled on out in the center field, where it was fumbled by Berger. Charlie Gehringer playing heads up round at first base, and it was awful close at second. He slid in, and he and Jackson were on the ground, but he is safe. He is on second. Now we have Heine Manning, the left fielder of the Washington Senators. A big, husky, left-hand hitter is up. Heine, you know, is the only major leaguer who has a batting average of 402. The first pitch is a ball outside. Strike, swinging. Heine Manning was not kidding on that one. He swung from all the way back, and the count on Heine Manning, the second man up in the first inning. Ball one and strike one. Charlie Gehringer on second base, nobody out. The pitch, it's a ball. Heine Manning taking almost a half swing. Gabby Hartnett turned around, pointed his finger to the umpire with the ball in his hand. But the umpire had called it a ball. So the count on Heine Manning, a left-hand hitter, is ball two and strike one. Here's the pitch. He swings, he misses. Strike two. Heine Manning taking a long cut at that one. Undoubtedly, he has his eye on that right field. Bleachers here at the Polo Grounds, which is 294 feet from home plate and about 15 feet high. The count on Manus, ball 2, strike 2, nobody out. Gehringer on second. Here it is. Hubble pitching. Ball 3. A hook ball with just a little bit low on the outside. Now the count on Mighty Manus, ball 3 and strike 2. It's the first inning of this all-star ball game at the Polo Grounds in New York. The National Broadcasting Company sending you the description. Nobody out. Gehringer on second. Mighty Manus with a count, ball 3, strike 2. Something's got to happen. Here it is. It's a ball. A ball that was over the plate but just a little bit low, and Mighty Manus walked. Now we have Mighty on first, Charlie Gehringer on second, and the mighty sustenance clap. Listen to that cheer for Babe Ruth. Just at the moment, manager Bill Perry, Frankie Frisch, Travis Jackson, Ty Trainer are all in there around Carl Hubble, and they're having, as Bill Mundy would say, a clap-gutted music huddle. And by the way, Bill Mundy is here with us in the box today, and a little later on, we're going to have Bill come over and say hello to you. I know you'll all be anxious to hear him. Ball players may come and they may go, but here is the king of them all in the batter's box. Pulling that old bat up and down, he knocks the dust off his shoes, and he's ready to face the great Carl Hubble. The pitch, it's a strike over the heart of the plate. A called strike on Babe Ruth. It's the first inning, you know. Nobody out. Mighty Manus is on first. The result of a base on balls. Charlie Gehringer is on second base. Here's the pitch. Ball is outside. Ball 1 and strike 1. Fans are all yelling the American League fans, of course. Crowd is split here. And there are the American League fans, of course, are pulling for Babe to park one of the pitches. One of the pitch. He swings, he misses. It's a strike. Babe was swung from way back on that one. He was aiming for it someplace. Over his bluff, I don't know, but he was certainly swinging from way back. Strike 2 and ball 1 is the count. Mighty Manus is on first. Charlie Gehringer is on second. Nobody is out. Carl Hubble, the great National League southpaw of the Giants, is in the box. Here it is. Strike 3! Strike 3! He's out! Boy, oh boy, what a thrill! 16,000 fans got out of that. The mighty Babe Ruth is up there, and when the National League service the pullers on first and second in this important ball game, Babe Ruth coming up there, and with a count 2 and 1, Carl Hubble hooks one over the inside corner, the base hits away, and it's a called strike. Now we have one man out. But it isn't all over yet. They're all watching. Lou Gehrig is up, and they're ready to go. Lou Gehrig knocks the dust off his shoes, pulls out his cap, and takes the stand in there. It's a ball. High, outside. This boy Gehrig, you know, is plenty responsible for the position of the New York Yankees in the American League. Here's the pitch. He swings, he misses. Strike 2. Lou Gehrig, mighty hitting first backer of the New York Yankees, is up there with runners on first and second. One man out. Ball. That was low inside. Gehrig stepped up on that ball, ready to point it, but it broke low inside, and now the count is ball 2 and strike 1. Sandy Hartford of the Chicago Cubs is the catcher. Carl Hubble is in the box. The first inning, one man out, no score. Runners on first and second. Here's the pitch to Gehrig. It's too low. Ball 3. Carl Hubble is working awfully hard out there. And well, he should. This array of sluggers coming up. Jimmy Fox is hanging around home plate. You've all heard, of course, of Jimmy Fox. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox following him along. Murder is throw and make no mistake about it. 3-1 is the count. Here's the pitch. It's a strike. A fastball right down the old alley. Gehrig has elected to work out his string with Carl Hubble, and now the count is ball 3 and strike 2. It is very possible now that Gehringer on second and who's on first will be off with the pitcher's motion. However, we have but one out. We shall see the the attack of Joe Fuller on this next play. 3 and 2, you know. Manu's got the big lead off first. There they go. They're running. Gary swings. He misses. He strikes out. But the double steal was attempted, and Geringer got ahead of the ball and is safe. Mike Trainer, the third baseman for the National Leaguers, is now arguing with umpire George Moriarty. That was very, very close. Lou Gehrig swung and missed the third strike. And with the runners off with the pitcher's motion, you know the crowd was 3 and 2, and they were off, and Barry Geringer stood in just ahead of that throw. It was very, very close, but George Moriarty of the American League had it thrown right over that play at third base, and it turned Barry Geringer safe. It was stolen base for Geringer, and it's stolen base for Hank Minute. Manager Bill Terry, Travis Jackson, and several of the other boys are walked over as far as the second spot of the argument. At third base is over. They are now planning the attack on Jimmy Fox, one of the greatest right-hand hitters of all time. While we have a moment, let us see the picture again. It is the first inning of this all-star ball game in the Polo Grounds in New York City. Charlie Geringer is on third base. Tiny Manus of the Washington Senators is on second. We have 2 men out, and that mighty hitter of Connie Mack, Philadelphia Athletics, is now at the plate. Carl Hubbell is winding up. Here's the pitch to Fox. He swings, he misses. Strike one. Boy, how this Hubbell is burning him across the plate. Pitching his whole heart out there for the cause of the National League. Striking out those 2 great hitters, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. 2 men out, runners on second and third. Fox is up. Strike the pitch. Ball 1. That's the curve ball. That pitches inside, and the count is ball 1 and strike 1 on Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox is playing third base for the American Leaguers this afternoon. Here's the windup again. Ball 1, strike 1. It's a foul. Foul up over the stands. Back in the count on Jimmy Fox is strike 2. Gabby Hartnett gets the new ball from umpire Fairman and whips it down by Trainer at third. Trainer takes his glove off, rubs it up a little, and then runs halfway over to the pitcher's box where he tosses it to Carl Hubbell. Boy, what pitching this Hubbell is doing out there. The first 2 men are up, got on, and then he struck out. Bruce Gehrig. And here's the pitch. Strike 2 with ball 1. Ball 2. Ball 2. It was high outside, and the count on Jimmy Fox is strike 2 and ball 2. No score as yet in the first half of the first inning. 2 men out. Geringer is on third. Manus is on second, and Fox is up. 2 and 2. And here it is, the pitch. He swings. He's out. He's out. He struck out. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. He struck out. 3 strikeouts for Carl Hubbell. Come in, 4th on. A ball player's dream, yes sir, a manager's dream, and a pitcher's nightmare. That's what this is when you face these murderers roles that come out there to bat. And what an achievement that was of Carl Hubbell right here in this first inning. Here is a resume of what happened, just to go over it briefly. American League first inning, Geringer leading off. The count goes to 2 and 1, and he snaps a shot single in center field. Going into second base, Onberger's error in center field, and he slid hot into second there with Briggs receiving the throw, and the umpire called him safe. Single and an extra base, Onberger's error. Then Manus comes up, and it goes to 3 and 2, and then the next one sails over, is a ball, and Manus walks. There's 2 men on base, and nobody out, and then ensued that big conference there in the infield with Bill Terry come all over to find out how your star pitcher Carl Hubbell was going to do with 2 men on, and then these 2 murderers coming up, Babe Ruth and Gehrig. Well, Ruth steps up there. The count went to 1 ball and 2 strikes, and then the Babe standing there looking at one, and it comes over, and the umpire's hand goes up in the air, and the man is out. Yes, sir. Babe called out on strike. Gehrig comes up, and he goes out swinging, and Geringer and Manus go down to second and third and second respectively. Then Jimmy Fox comes up and strikes out. A great achievement, Carl Hubbell. Here we go into the second half of the first inning. Tom Manning. Frankie First is up. Second baseman, you know, manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. Frankie bats him right-handed. Lefty Gomez is in the box for the American Leaguers. Frankie gets a hold of it. Throwing. It's high up into the bleachers for a home run. A home run for Frankie First. Listen to that crowd. Yes, indeed. Frankie Frisch certainly got a hold of that one and parked it in the upper deck of the right field pavilion, directly up about 40 feet upon the 395-foot sign. That ball was well hit. And now we have Clyde Trainer up, another right-hand batter. Strike call. That was a curve ball that Gomez had over the outside corner of the plate, and the count on Clyde Trainer is strike one. The next one, it's a ball, high outside, and the count is ball one and strike one. Just imagine what we've seen here in the first inning so far. Mario boy. It's a foul upstairs and back of the plate, and the count on Frankie Frisch is strike two and ball one. Frisch steps out of the box for a moment, knocks the dirt off his shoes, then steps back in there again. But he finds Lefty Gomez walking around the second base side of the box, fumbling the rosin bag. But now we're ready to go. Strike two and ball one on Clyde Trainer. He swings and misses. It was a tip ball that got away from Bill Dickey. So the count remains strike two and ball one. Well, the National Leaguers are out in front now, of course, by the score of 1-0. This is the last half of the first inning. Nobody on. Frankie Frisch, first up, smacked out a homer. Has a ground ball down second base way. Gehringer is up with it. Tosses to Gehrig, and Trainer is out at first. One man out and nobody out. That was a nice play by Charlie Gehringer. Charlie, of course, makes a lot of brilliant plays down there at second base. He had to run over far to his right, and he whipped the ball underhand, ball high to Lou Gehrig. We have one man out, and Joe Medwick is up. Joe Medwick, also the St. Louis Cardinals. He bats them right-handed. Gets the first ball pitch, a high fly deep into left field, and it's coming over, Coleman going out. Coleman ran all the way out there to the stand, but just failed to make the catch and hit in the strike. Coleman went a long way out for that one. Tiny Manus is playing over in deep left center field for Joe Medwick, and the ball was hit just alongside of the bleachers out here in the left field corner. Joe Coleman just barely had his fingertips on that ball, but couldn't hold it. Players are walking back to their positions rather slowly now. Tiny Manus back to left field, and Coleman and Fox coming in to third and short. Now we're ready to go again. Lefty Gomez in the box. Medwick is up. Strike one, the pitch. It's a foul. Up over the front box, and the count on Joe Medwick is strike two. Last half of the first inning. The National Leaguers 1, American Leaguers 0. Billy Medwick, one of the finest looking young ball players to come up in years, is at the plate. Strike two, and here's the pitch. He swings and misses. He thought it was a tip ball, but it was not. He is still claiming it was a tip ball. Dickey dropped the ball and tagged him out, but Medwick is still talking to the umpire, but the umpire says it was not a tip ball, and he is cleared out, a strikeout. Now we have two men out and nobody out. Joey Medwick thought that he tipped that ball, but at the game, the umpire did not hear it, and it was the third strike swinging. Two out, nobody on. Back Tyler, the Chicago Cubs is up. Ty in the also batting him right-handed this afternoon. Ty is quite a ball player. He's been up a long time, and many a thrill he has given the National League fans. Ball, high outside. Rick hits the plate, and it's ball two. Ty Tyler is up there the last half of the first inning. Two out, nobody out, and the count is ball two. He swings. It was grounded on shortstop way. Coleman comes up with it, tosses to Gehrig, and Tyler is out at first. That retires the National Leaguers in the first inning. Have one run on one hit. At the end of the first inning, the National Leaguers 1, American Leaguers 0. Come in for it. And what a thrill rang through these stands when Frankie Frisch stepped up to that plate. The ball shot over, and it was called a ball. Then he settled himself, gave a hit to his pants, wiped his hands in the dirt, picked up that bat, leaned over the plate, and looked for the next delivery that Gomez shot in, and winged it high, hard, and far into the upper deck of the right field stand for a thrilling homer. And how that does lift the fans out of their seats. A thrill when that ball seems with the crack of the bat and smashes straight and direct for those upper right field stands. So a run came in, and Gomez settled down. Trainer, the second man in the National League batting order, who came up the count, smashed it down to second base. Geary took him over, scooped it up flat, got it to Geary, over on first, and he was out. 1 out. National Leaguer's first inning. Then Medwick came to bat. Struck out. Tyler came up, shot it down to Cohen. He's out cornered to Gehrig. And here we go with Simmons up at bat, I believe, in the second inning, and Tom Manning coming in to give it to you. Carl Hubble, the southpaw. The Giants is in the box again. Al Simmons, the right-hand hitter, is up to pitch. Ball one. The fastball was high on the outside. As we went to the first half of the second inning, the National Leaguers are out in front by the score of 1-0. Al Simmons leads off for the Americans in the second inning. Swings and misses, a mighty swing, turning all the way around. That's a beautiful pivot, you know, that Simmons has. Takes his toes in the dirt, swings all around, and the count is ball one and strike one. Manager Joe Cronin is hanging around home plate. Coming up next, the pitch, strike two. There was that old screwball, came in there shoulder high, and then dove down, and Simmons swung over it, and the count is strike two and ball one. First man up for the American Leaguers in the second inning. Here's the pitch. He's out, swinging, strike out, 1 gone. That was a change of pace offering that Carl Hubble had in there, letter high. Simmons with the good toe hold and swung. Boy, that turned to some sort of a record. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, and Al Simmons all striking out in succession. Boys and girls, this boy Hubble is a pitcher. Joe Cronin is up there. He hits them right-handed, you know. The first is a foul up and back. Up on top of the press box, and the count on Joe Cronin is strike one. Simmons crosses out another new ball. Gabby Martin puts it down to Bill Terry at first. Terry rubs it off a little bit, and then crosses it over to Carl Hubble. First half of the second inning, 1-0 in favor of the National Leaguers. One man out, and nobody is on. Here's the pitch to Cronin. Strike two, swinging. That old screwball of Carl Hubble is working in there beautifully this afternoon. It must be when you strike out 4 hitters like that. Bruce, Gary, Fox, and now he has the count 2-0 on Joe Cronin. One man out, nobody on. The pitch is too high. Ball one. That was just about the fastest ball that Hubble has tossed in there this afternoon with a count 2-0. Martin, you know, put that fast one in there. Here's the pitch again. One. Strike three, swinging. He struck him out. 5 strikeouts in a row for Lefty Hubble of the National League. First half of the second inning, the American League is the left bat, and we have 2 men out and nobody on. The benefit of those who have just tuned in. Carl Hubble has struck out the last 5 batters. Here's Bill Dickey. Strike. The foul up in front of the press box, and it's strike one. Bill Dickey bats him left-handed. Bill Dickey, you know, is a great, tall, clean catcher of the New York Yankees. Ball. That was the hook ball that got away from Hubble. It was outside and a little bit low, and the count is ball one and strike one. What a ball game we're watching. Ball one and strike one. Here's the windup. 2 out, nobody on. Strike two, ball. That was the ball that Bill Dickey pulled away from, and it broke over the part of the plate for a called strike. And the count now is strike two, ball one. The American Leaguers batting in the second inning. 2 out, nobody on. Here's the pitch, strike two and ball one. He bangs it at the base hit into left field. A base hit into left field. The ball is retrieved by Medwick. He tosses it into Travis Jackson at second base, and Dickey stops at first. That's the second hit of the afternoon for the American Leaguers. And now Lefty Gomez, who is in the box for the American Leaguers, comes to the plate. The score, the National Leaguers 1, the American Leaguers nothing. It's the first half of the second inning. men have been retired, and Bill Dickey is on first. Gomez swings and throws back all the way down. Bill Terry at first base. Bill Terry picks the bat up and is walking all the way into home plate. He doesn't throw it back, but he's walking all the way into home plate. And very definitely sends the bat to Lefty Gomez and makes some kind of comment. Yes, sir. Bill Terry picked that bat up, rifled his position at first base, and walked all the way into the batter's box and handed it to Lefty Gomez. Strike one at the count, 2 outs. Dickey on first. The pitch. Strike 2. He swings. That was a long follow through. Very beautiful golf swing that Lefty Gomez had on display that night. Strike 2 is the count, you know. 2 men out, and Bill Dickey is on first. Charlie Gallagher hanging around home plate. Strike 3. Lefty Gomez, pitcher of the American League, struck out, strike out for Paul Hubble of the National League for 1-0 in the first half of the second inning. Hit in 4. The American League half of the second inning started off with Simmons up. And of course, the fans hanging on to the edge of their seats as Simmons is back after Hubble had struck out Bruce and Gehrig in the first inning. So Simmons came up. The count went to 1 ball and 2 strikes, 1 and 2 on him. And then he swung hard and collected an awful lot of air on the end of his bat. The 4th strikeout for Hubble. Then Joe Cronin came up. Count went at 1 and 2 on him, and he whipped with a scissors cut at that ball. Scissors that makes the 5th man. Then Bill Dickey came up. Surefire hitter Bill Dickey, a big catcher, and the American League catcher this afternoon. And he wanged a nice little Texas leaguer out into left field, just over the shortstop's head, and not far enough out for Medwick to do anything about it out in left field for a single. Gomez came to bat. Gomez, who's had that contest on with Johnny Brokaw of the Yankees to see who could get the most hits this season. So far, Gomez had 5, and he struck out 6 straight. So here we go into the National League half, the second inning, and here's Tom Henning to give it to you. Wally Berger, right-hand hitter, is first up. He swings at the first ball, pitch it to foul, up and back, strike 1. Lefty Gomez, you know, is in the box for the American Leaguers with Bill Dickey behind the bat. We have a moment. Those who just tuned in, Gallagher's at first, Gehringer at second, Coleman at short, and Jimmy Fox of the Athletics at third. The outfielders, Bruce, Simmons, and Manus. Strike 2, swinging. Wally Berger, you know, is one of the long-distance hitters of the National League. Well, as far as that's concerned, everybody out here is a long-distance hitter today. Berger's the first man up for the National Leaguers in the last half of the second. The pitch. A long smash is foul in left field. A long smash it was high over the pavilion in left field, and here's strike 2 on Wally Berger. The score is 1-0, you know, in favor of the National Leaguers. The result of Frankie Frisch's home run. Frankie Frisch was the first man up for the National Leaguers in the first inning. Pocket in the upper deck of the right field stands for a homer. Strike 3, Wally Berger strikes out swinging. That's the second strikeout of the afternoon. Bill Murray is coming up. Bill gets a great ovation from the crowd as he steps to the plate. Bill is well liked here in New York City, and he should be. Bill is a great ball player. Bill is the manager of the National Leaguers today. He's a left-hand hitter. The first pitch. Ball on. A fastball is outside. Travis Jackson, shortstop and captain of the Giants at second. There's a long smash in the center field, but Simmons coming in. Simmons is under it. He has it. Very, very high fly in the center field. Al Simmons, you know, is usually found in left field. What is called a white shot. Over center field this afternoon with Mike Meadows playing left. Travis Jackson, shortstop of the Giants, right-hand hitter, is next up. The last one of the Jackson, all washed up on account of a bad season. Then money down this year, playing a whale of a game. Right, back in the fastball, just running to the end. Frankie Jackson from the straight cut at it. 2 out, and nobody on. Strike 2, ball. That was a nice curveball. Got her high. Ball bounded out of Dickey's glove. Goes 2 feet toward third. Bill retrieves it and tosses it back to Gomez, and we're ready to go. 2 out, nobody on. Jackson up. 1-0 in favor of the National League. Here's the pitch. Gomez makes an extra long wind-up this time, and here it is. It's the ball. It was over the plate, but just a little bit low, and the count on Travis Jackson is strike 2 and ball 1. 2 out, nobody on. And here comes strike 3, swinging. That was a swell cut that Jackson took at that. That's all for the National Leaguers in the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. Scored bombs. Looks like this game is going to settle the argument about which it takes to win ball games, heavy hitters or great pitchers, because the pitchers are tying these heavy-hitting lineups into knots this afternoon. The National League second inning, Gomez first pitching to Berger. Berger came up and went down on 3 straight balls, all of them a strike. Then he swung hard at the third one and scored through a lot of the ozone about the plate and got exactly nothing at all. Then Bill Terry came up to the cheers of the fans, a very popular player, great first baseman, state manager of the New York Giants, came up and it went to 1-0 on him. A ball and no strike, and then he walloped a towering high fly. It sailed way high out into center field. Simmons moved in under it and took it nicely for the second out. Then Travis Jackson came to bat. Travis Jackson up, and Gomez had his number 2. Jackson went down swinging, retiring the National League here in the second inning. So we come with the score 1-0 in favor of the National League into the third inning with the American League is back. The National Broadcasting Company bringing it to you. Here's Tom Manning to tell you about the play-by-play here in the third inning. The American League is 1 run behind as they come to bat, and Charlie Carrier, the Detroit Tigers second baseman, is again the leadoff man. First time up, Charlie singles to center field. Went to second on the center fielder's bubble. First pitch is a ball inside. Ball 2. That was a hook ball that hit the outside corner, and the count on Charlie Carrier. That's from left-handed. Charlie was born over Fowlerville, Michigan, May 11, 1903. Strike, ball. Ball 2 and strike 1. You can all get a picture of Charlie. He's 5 feet 11 and a half and 180 pounds. Came to Detroit in 1925 from Toronto. Got a batting average, a grand average of 382 for the year. Charlie gets a hold of the next one inside. He's into right field. And Tyler goes back and makes that nice running catch up the edge of the track in deep right field. Boy, that ball was hit right on the label. Looked like it was going places for a moment, but Mike Carter turned it back with the back of the bat and dashed out to the center track and made a sweet running catch for the first out. One down. Nobody on. Mike Trainer and Bill Terry are over in the pitcher's box now, having a bit of a conference with Paul Hubble. Conference is over, and Heidi Manuch is coming up. Last time up, Heidi walked. Hits the first ball, pitch the grounded on second base way. Frankie pushes up with it, tosses to Terry. Manuch is out. 2 men out, nobody on. Boy, those National Leaguers are whipping that ball around that infield with the speed of lightning. They're certainly all stepped up right on their toes this afternoon. Babe Ruth gets a great ovation as he comes up for the second time. Last time up, Babe Ruth struck out. The American League is half of the third inning, 1 run behind, 2 out, nobody on, and Babe Ruth is up. Strike, ball. Rather slow curveball, dodging above the knee, and over the heart of the plate. Babe decided to wait for another one. A called strike, 1-0 now. The pitch. Ball. That was over, just a little bit too low, and the count on Babe Ruth. Ball 1 and strike 1. Score is 1-0 in favor of the National League. First half of the third inning, 2 out, nobody on. Hubble pitching, here it is. It's too low. Ball 2 and strike 1 on Babe Ruth. Lou Gehrig is hanging around home plate. Lou is coming up here next to us. 2 out, nobody on. Babe Ruth, ball 2, strike 1, the pitch. A foul! Over into the National League's dugout, which is along first base, and that equals the count at ball 2 and strike two. A lot of trouble out there on the National League's infield. A lot of baseball brains out there, incidentally. Three managers, Terry, Fish, and Slater. And a captain, Travis Jackson. 2-2 the pitch. Ball three. That one's right. Base moves away from the plate. It's far inside. And now the out on the base. Ball three and strike two. Nobody on base and all two out. Wind up being two. Ball four. That was high inside. Right to May the gun out of the batter's box. And he walks. Gary coming up. Last time up. Gary struck out. I don't see anybody warming up for the National League as yet. It's just possible that Bill Gary will allow trouble to go along a little longer. Gary up. Strike one. It's a foul back. Dave Ruth on first base. First half of the third inning. 2 out. Jimmy Fox is bringing around home plate now. Here's the pitch. Gets a hold of it along. Smash to right field. Over near the wall. Tyler over close to the wall and makes the catch. And that's all. That was two mighty drives that inning by Geringer and Gary. But it's all over for the American League in the first half of the third. Come in, Thornton. Well, if Gary had thrown around just a little harder on that one, the score could have been 2 runs in that inning because the Babe was down on first. Gary came up and smashed that ball hard right on the old nozzle out into right field. If he pulled it around just about 25 feet, it would have sailed over that low barrier into those right field stands. But well, that's what between hitting resumes are those on. Geringer was the first man up, the leadoff man for the Americans in the third, and he banged a long, hard hit fly way out to the bullpen in right field. But Guy Kyler was out there with a crack in the bat and took it on the run for a nice running catch for the first down. Then Manouche came up. Manouche banged one a draft cutter down to Frisch on second. He was out on a fast play Frisch to Terry, and 2 men were gone. The Babe came up, 2 out, nobody on. Count went to 3-2 on him, and then he got a walk. Gehrig came up and smashed that long one out into right field, but Tyler took that one right. This right field is hard to measure here. The angles are peculiar on it. Here we go into the National League share of the third inning now, and the batter coming into the box, and here's Tom Manning. Gabby Hartnett, the catcher of today's game, catcher for the Chicago Cubs, right-hand hitter, is first up, and on the first pitch from Gomez, he fouls it up on the rope in back of home plate. And the count on Gabby Hartnett is strike one. Carl Hubble, next hitter. Has the ground ball over the pitcher's head down short corner and in fast. Has it with the 2 Gary, and Hartnett is out. That was a fast play by Joe Coleman, the shortstop, of a lazy hopper, just out of Gomez. Now we have 1 man out in the National League half of the third inning. We're going to have a pinch hitter for Carl Hubble. Herman, Billy Herman, a right-hand hitter, draft for Carl Hubble. Hubble has pitched in 3 innings and is for the base. It's the first ball pitch, the high fly out in the short left field. Coleman going back, Manouche in. Coleman is under it and has it for the out. That was a high fly. Manouche and Coleman both going after it. Now we have 2 men out and nobody on. Billy Herman hitting the first ball pitch to short left field, where it was taken by Joe Coleman. Once more, we have the top of the National League's batting order coming up. Frankie Frisch, who is responsible for the National League's advantage of 1 run, smacked that home run in the first inning, high into the upper deck of the right field stand. Ball 1. That's the guy's third ball. It was over, but just a little bit too high. The count on Frankie Frisch is strike 1. Or ball 1, rather. Ball 2. The third ball is high outside, and the count is 2-0. 2-0 on Frankie Frisch, managing the St. Louis Cardinals. That's the high foul down toward first base. Gehrig is going back fast. over to the stands, but it's a little too deep into the box, back to first base, and it's a strike. Terry is certainly a fighting ball player. He backs over for that one. Never looked up until he got his hand on the little barrier in front of the box, and looked up, but the ball was in the box is a little too deep, and the count on Frankie Frisch, ball 2 and strike 1. The last half of the third inning, you know. Strike, ball. Ball 2 and strike 2. Two and two out, nobody on. Ball 3. That was a curveball outside, and now the count on Frankie Frisch is ball 3 and strike 2. Fans have settled down for just a moment now with that great excitement that we had in the first inning. It's a ball low outside, and Frankie Frisch walks. Gomez had Frisch in the hole that time with a count 2 and 2, but wasn't able to get the other 2 over. He just missed the corner with that third ball, but the other one was plenty low and outside, and Frisch is on first, 2 out. And Pie Trainer is up. Pie gets that nickname when he was a kid. He was always asking for pie. Ball 1. That was a change of pace offering, a little bit high and inside. National Leaguers batting in the last half of the third, 2 out, Frisch on first. There's a long foul down to right field, and it's a strike. That was a hard smash down in right field. The fans all stood up as it left the bat, but it was fouled by 15 or 20 yards. Ball 1 and strike 1. Pie Trainer is up. Manager and third baseman of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Foul up and back. Strike 2 and ball 1. That ball was about forehead high. Trainer likes him high, and he fouled right into that one, but it was a foul back, and the count is strike 2 and ball 1. Last half of the third inning, National Leaguers 1, American Leaguers nothing. We have 2 out. Frankie Frisch is on first base. Lefty Gomez is in the box, and the count on Trainer is strike 2 and ball 1. Here it is. It's a ground ball. Put it in the field, out into center field. Al Simmons comes up with it, and he returns the ball to Coleman at second base, while Frankie Frisch pulls up at third. Frankie Frisch, third base, standing up. A base hit for Pie Trainer. That was a ground ball to the center of the infield, and it was received by Al Simmons in center field. Now we have Joey Medlick. Joey Medlick and the St. Louis Cardinals coming up. A ball. Go inside. Runners on first and third to no. Last half of the third inning. 2 men out. Last time up, Medlick struck out. A foul back. And that evens the count at ball 1 and strike 1.